This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, he made him in God's likeness. He created them male and female, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day they were created. Adam lived 130 years, and became the father of a son in his own likeness, after his image, and named him Seth. The days of Adam after he became the father of Seth were 800 years, and he became the father of sons and daughters. All the days that Adam lived were 930 years, then he died. Seth lived 105 years and became the father of Enosh. Seth lived after he became the father of Enosh 807 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. All the days of Seth were 912 years, then he died. Enosh lived 90 years and became the father of Kenan. Enosh lived after he became the father of Kenan 815 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. All the days of Enosh were 905 years, then he died. Kenan lived 70 years, and became the father of Mahalalel. Kenan lived after he became the father of Mahalalel 840 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. And all the days of Kenan were 910 years, then he died. Mahalalel lived 65 years, and became the father of Jared. Mahalalel lived after he became the father of Jared 830 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. All the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, then he died. Jared lived 162 years, and became the father of Enoch. Jared lived after he became the father of Enoch 800 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. All the days of Jared were 962 years, then he died. Enoch lived 65 years, and became the father of Methuselah. Enoch walked with God after he became the father of Methuselah 300 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. All the days of Enoch were 365 years. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Methuselah lived 187 years, and became the father of Lamech. Methuselah lived after he became the father of Lamech 782 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. All the days of Methuselah were 969 years, then he died. Lamech lived 182 years, and became the father of a son, and he named him Noah, saying, "This same will comfort us in our work and in the toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord has cursed." Lamech lived after he became the father of Noah 595 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. All the days of Lamech were 777 years, then he died. Noah was 500 years old, and Noah became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. It happened when men began to multiply on the surface of the ground, and daughters were born to them, that God's sons saw that men's daughters were beautiful, and they took for themselves wives of all that they chose. The Lord said, "My spirit will not strive with man forever, because he also is flesh, yet will his days be 120 years. The Nephilim were in the earth in those days, and also after that, when God's sons came to men's daughters. They bore children to them. The same were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. The Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him in his heart. The Lord said, "I will destroy man whom I have created from the surface of the ground, man, along with animals, creeping things, and birds of the sky, for I am sorry that I have made them." But Noah found favor in the Lord's eyes. This is the history of the generations of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time. Noah walked with God. Noah became the father of 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. God saw the earth, and saw that it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. God said to Noah, The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. Behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make an ark of gopher wood. You shall make rooms in the ark, and shall seal it inside and outside with pitch. This is how you shall make it. The length of the ark will be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. You shall make a roof in the ark, and to a cubit shall you finish it upward. You shall set the door of the ark in the side of it. You shall make it with lower, second, and third levels. I, even I, do bring the flood of waters on this earth to destroy all flesh having the breath of life from under the sky. Everything that is in the earth will die. But I will establish my covenant with you. You shall come into the ark, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. Of every living thing of all flesh, you shall bring 2 of every sort into the ark, to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female. Of the birds after their kind, of the cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the ground after its kind, 2 of every sort shall come to you to keep them alive. Take with you of all food that is eaten, and gather it to you, and it will be food for you and for them. Thus Noah did, according to all that God commanded him, so he did. The Lord said to Noah, Come with all of your household into the ark, for I have seen your righteousness before me in this generation. You shall take 7 pairs of every clean animal with you, the male and his female. Of the animals that are not clean, take 2, the male and his female. Also of the birds of the sky, 7 and 7, male and female, to keep seed alive on the surface of all the earth. In 7 days I will cause it to rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. Every living thing that I have made I will destroy from the surface of the ground. Noah did everything that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters came on the earth. Noah went into the ark with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives, because of the waters of the flood. Clean animals, animals that are not clean, birds, and everything that creeps on the ground, went by pairs to Noah into the ark, male and female, as God commanded Noah. It happened after the 7 days that the waters of the flood came on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, on the same day all the fountains of the great deep were burst open, and the sky's windows were opened. The rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the same day Noah and Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, entered into the ark, they and every animal after its kind, all the cattle after their kind, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. They went to Noah into the ark by pairs of all flesh with the breath of life in them. Those who went in, male and female of all flesh, as God commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. The flood was 40 days on the earth. The waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth. The waters prevailed and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the waters. The waters prevailed exceedingly on the earth. All the high mountains that were under the whole sky were covered. The waters prevailed 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered. All flesh died that moved on the earth, including birds, cattle, animals, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life, of all that was on the dry land, died. Every living thing was destroyed that was on the surface of the ground, including man, cattle, creeping things, and the birds of the sky. They were destroyed from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those who were with him in the ark. The waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. God remembered Noah, all the animals, and all the cattle that were with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth. The waters subsided. The deep's fountains and the sky's windows were also stopped, and the rain from the sky was restrained. The waters receded from off the earth continually. After the end of 150 days the waters decreased. The ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, on Ararat's mountains. The waters receded continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, the tops of the mountains were seen. It happened at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made, and he sent forth a raven. It went back and forth until the waters were dried up from off the earth. He sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters were abated from off the surface of the ground. But the dove found no place to rest her foot, and she returned to him into the ark, for the waters were on the surface of the whole earth. He put forth his hand and took her, and brought her to him into the ark. He stayed yet another 7 days, and again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. The dove came back to him at evening, and behold, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from off the earth. He stayed yet another 7 days, and sent forth the dove, and she didn't return to him any more. It happened in the 601st year, in the 1st month, in the 1st day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth. Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked. He saw that the surface of the ground was dried. In the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. God spoke to Noah, saying, Go forth from the ark, you and your wife, and your sons' wives with you. Bring forth with you every living thing that is with you of all flesh, including birds, cattle, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. Noah went forth with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives with him. Every animal, every creeping thing, and every bird, whatever moves on the earth after their families, went forth out of the ark. Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took of every clean animal, and of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. The Lord smelled the sweet savor. The Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, because the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I ever again strike everything living as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. God blessed Noah and his sons, and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth. The fear of you and the dread of you will be on every animal of the earth, and on every bird of the sky. Everything that the ground teems with, and all the fish of the sea are delivered into your hand. Every moving thing that lives will be food for you. As the green herb, I have given everything to you. But flesh with the life of it, the blood of it, you shall not eat. I will surely require your blood of your lives. At the hand of every animal I will require it. At the hand of man, even at the hand of every man's brother, I will require the life of man. Whoever sheds man's blood, by man will his blood be shed, for in the image of God made he man. Be fruitful and multiply. Bring forth abundantly in the earth, and multiply in it. God spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, As for me, behold, I establish my covenant with you, and with your offspring after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the cattle, and every animal of the earth with you. Of all that go out of the ark, even every animal of the earth, I will establish my covenant with you. Neither will all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of the flood, neither will there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. God said, This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you, for perpetual generations. I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it will be for a sign of a covenant between me and the earth. It will happen, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the rainbow will be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you, and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters will no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. The rainbow will be in the cloud. I will look at it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. God said to Noah, This is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth. The sons of Noah who went forth from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham is the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and from these the whole earth was populated. Noah began to be a farmer and planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine and got drunk. He was uncovered within his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brothers outside. Shem and Japheth took a garment, and laid it on both their shoulders, went in backwards, and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were backwards, and they didn't see their father's nakedness. Noah awoke from his wine, and knew what his youngest son had done to him. He said, Cursed be Canaan! A servant of servants will he be to his brothers. He said, Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem. Let Canaan be his servant. God enlarged Japheth. Let him dwell in the tents of Shem. Let Canaan be his servant. Noah lived 350 years after the flood. All the days of Noah were 950 years. Then he died. Now this is the history of the generations of the sons of Noah, and of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The sons of Gomer: Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan: Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. Of these were the isles of the nations divided in their lands, every one after his language, after their families, in their nations. The sons of Ham: Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush: Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, and Sabteka. The sons of Rama: Sheba and Dedan. Cush became the father of Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. Out of that land he went forth into Assyria, and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Ir, Calah, and Resen, between Nineveh and Calah. The same is the great city. Mizraim became the father of Ludum, Anamim, Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, Pathrusim, Casluhim, which the Philistines descended from, and Caphtorim. Canaan became the father of Sidon, his firstborn, Heth, the Jebusite, the Amorite, the Girgashite, the Hivite, the Archite, the Sinite, the Arvadite, the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. Afterward the families of the Canaanites were spread abroad. The border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, as you go toward Gerar to Gaza, as you go toward Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim to Lasha. These are the sons of Ham, after their families, after their languages, in their lands, in their nations. To Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, the elder brother of Japheth, to him also were born children. The sons of Shem: Elam, Asher, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram: Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad became the father of Shelah. Shelah became the father of Eber. To Eber were born 2 sons. The name of the one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided. His brother's name was Joktan. Joktan became the father of Almodad, Sheleph, Hazmarpheth, Jerah, Hadoram, Usal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. Their dwelling was from Misha, as you go toward Sephar, the mountain of the east. These are the sons of Shem, after their families, after their languages, in their lands, after their nations. These are the families of the sons of Noah, after their generations in their nations. Of these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. In those days John the Baptizer came preaching in the wilderness of Judea, saying, Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. For this is he who was spoken of by Isaiah the prophet, saying, The voice of one crying in the wilderness, Make ready the way of the Lord, make his path straight. Now John himself wore clothing made of camel's hair, with a leather belt around his waist. His food was locust and wild honey. Then people from Jerusalem, all of Judea, and all the region around the Jordan went out to him. They were baptized by him in the Jordan, confessing their sins. But when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees coming for his baptism, he said to them, You offspring of vipers, who warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Therefore bring forth fruit worthy of repentance. Don't think to yourselves, We have Abraham for our father. For I tell you that God is able to raise up children to Abraham from these stones. Even now the axe lies at the root of the trees. Therefore every tree that doesn't bring forth good fruit is cut down and cast into the fire. I indeed baptize you in water for repentance, but he who comes after me is mightier than I, whose shoes I am not worthy to carry. He will baptize you in the Holy Spirit. His winnowing fork is in his hand, and he will thoroughly cleanse his threshing floor. He will gather his wheat into the barn, but the chaff he will burn up with unquenchable fire. Then Jesus came from Galilee to the Jordan to John to be baptized by him. But John would have hindered him, saying, I need to be baptized by you, and you come to me? But Jesus, answering, said to him, Allow it now, for this is the fitting way for us to fulfill all righteousness. Then he allowed him. Jesus, when he was baptized, went up directly from the water, and behold, the heavens were opened to him. He saw the Spirit of God descending as a dove and coming on him. Behold, a voice out of the heaven said, This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. When he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry afterward. The tempter came and said to him, If you are the Son of God, command that these stones become bread. But he answered, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Then the devil took him into the holy city. He set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said to him, If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, He will give his angels charge concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, so that you don't dash your foot against a stone. Jesus said to him, Again it is written, You shall not test the Lord your God. Again the devil took him to an exceedingly high mountain, and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. He said to him, I will give you all of these things, if you will fall down and worship me. Then Jesus said to him, Get behind me, Satan, for it is written, You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve. Then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him. Now when Jesus heard that John was delivered up, he withdrew into Galilee. Leaving Nazareth, he came and lived in Capernaum, which is by the sea, in the region of Zebulun and Naphtali, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken through Isaiah the prophet, saying, The land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, toward the sea beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. The peoples who sat in darkness saw a great light. To those who sat in the region and shadow of death, to them light has dawned. From that time Jesus began to preach and to say, Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Walking by the Sea of Galilee, he saw 2 brothers, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. He said to them, Come after me, and I will make you fishers for men. They immediately left their nets and followed him. Going on from there, he saw 2 other brothers, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, in the boat with Zebedee their father, mending their nets. He called them. They immediately left the boat and their father and followed him. Jesus went about in all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every disease and every sickness among the people. The report about him went out into all Syria. They brought to him all who were sick, afflicted with various diseases and torments, possessed with demons,
epileptics and paralytics, and he healed them. Great multitudes from Galilee, Decapolis, Jerusalem, Judea, and from beyond the Jordan followed him.
Psalm 3. A psalm by David, when he fled from Absalom his son. Yahweh, how my adversaries have increased! Many are those who rise up against me. Many are they who say of my soul, there is no help for him in God. But you, Yahweh, are a shield around me, my glory and the one who lifts up my head. I cry to Yahweh with my voice, and he answers me out of his holy hill. I laid myself down and slept. I awakened, for Yahweh sustains me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people who have set themselves against me on every side. Arise, Yahweh, save me, my God, for you have struck all of my enemies on the cheekbone. You have broken the teeth of the wicked. Salvation belongs to Yahweh. Your blessing be on your people. Psalm 4. For the chief musician on stringed instruments, a psalm by David. Answer me when I call, God of my righteousness. Give me relief from my distress. Have mercy on me and hear my prayer. You sons of men, how long shall my glory be turned into dishonor? Will you love vanity and seek after falsehood? But know that Yahweh has set apart for himself him who is godly. Yahweh will hear when I call to him. Stand in awe and don't sin. Search your own heart on your bed and be still. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness. Put your trust in Yahweh. Many say, who will show us any good? Yahweh, let the light of your face shine on us. You have put gladness in my heart, more than when their grain and their new wine are increased. In peace I will both lay myself down and sleep, for you, Yahweh, alone make me live in safety.
My son, if sinners entice you, don't consent. If they say, come with us, let's lay in wait for blood. Let's lurk secretly for the innocent without cause. Let's swallow them up alive like Sheol, and whole like those who go down into the pit. We'll find all valuable wealth. We'll fill our houses with spoil. You shall cast your lot among us. We'll all have one purse. My son, don't walk in the way with them. Keep your foot from their path. For their feet run to evil. They hurry to shed blood. For in vain is the net spread in the sight of any bird. But these lay in wait for their own blood. They lurk secretly for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone who is greedy for gain. It takes away the life of its owners. Wisdom calls aloud in the street. She utters her voice in the public squares. She calls at the head of noisy places. At the entrance of the city gate she utters her words. How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? How long will mockers delight themselves in mockery, and fools hate knowledge? Turn at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit on you. I will make known my words to you.